One is the offense and one is the defense. You and I have talked about this, a little bit of a vanilla offense sometimes. It kind of gets very repetitive, but I know you pointed out during the Ohio State-Mansfield game, which unfortunately we don't have the footage to show you, but they did some smart things. You pointed out very early on. They went to Tony Townsend on the block. Townsend would get a double team. He'd kick it out and find the open shooter. This team is full of shooters. Take advantage of it.
You know what? That's the first time I've seen him do that all year long is when he gets into the inside and he kicked it back to the outside. I believe it was to Gary Houston.
Yeah.
It was a great play, and that's what you need to do. If you get it on the inside, OSU Mansfield was running a 2-3 zone, and that is what compacts the inside. So you're going to get double and even sometimes triple teams onto that inside. So you have to find the open people on the wings and on the top of the key because that's how you bust a zone, and they're not going to be able to stay in that. The teams aren't as athletic as this Point Park team is. Very, very good shooters and some good players on the inside too. You got to play to your strengths. You can't run the same offense up and down the court. It's a two-man game.
Yeah.
That's all the Pioneers run, which for a point in time is very, very good. They like to run the picks is fine, but they got to find something else to use when the teams are going to know what they're going to run.
Before we move over to the defense, Isenberg, you got to see several of these games now. What is your impression of the offense, having watched this team now for the past few years?
Well, I can tell the offense the past couple of years, they've been a smaller team. They rely more on the three-point shot, more of their speed, but they're more athletic. They have these big guys right now, Tony Townsend, Urso, and Devon Alexander coming off the bench for Devon Alexander. These are very talented big men who can run up and down the court, good for 6 or 7 minutes. The only thing right now that head coach Bob Breaker really needs to utilize is how Gary Houston is playing right now. Because this is a guy, 2 years ago, didn't play much. Now he's a starting point guard. He doesn't turn the basketball over, Justin. He never turns the ball over. He averages maybe 2 turnovers per game. This is a guy that's a floor general, and he's able to create the big shot. 6 3-pointers against Malone a couple of weeks back.
Well, I want to give Gary Houston his credit because I think he's handled because let's be honest, Gary's not a true one. But he's handled.
Exactly.
But I think for being put in, with Joel Kashat being out for the season, I think he from what I've seen in practice, is the more natural one. For doing what he has to do, I think Gary hasn't made too many mistakes.
And we saw Franco Sebastiani step in a little bit, play the 1, shift Houston over to that 2. But either way, he plays the 1 or 2. He's doing a good job of utilizing both and not doing too much, but at the same time doing just enough for his team.
It works really well when a team's going to run the press to have both Houston and Sebastiani into the ball game. So you can run those 2 guards in the backcourt just in case, because if they're going to trap, you're still going to need someone else who can handle the ball.
Josh, I know you want to make a mention about defense. Got 30 seconds to do that, and then let's hop over to the women's basketball.
2 real quick things. The defense really needs some help here. They need to get back on defense because if they don't, they're flat out. They're not going to win many games. And
we saw some of the highlights
exactly.
there.
And something else that if they need to improve, that they're not going to win too many games, the free throw shooting. About 61%. That needs to be raised by about 15 to 20% as a team. I think the best free throw shooter on the team's Batin. He's around 80-some%. And usually the best player on the basketball team that has some free throw percentage around 92, 93%. Right. You're missing easy points. You go 9 of 20 from the line, you're missing 11 free points. That's going to add up in the end.
We will see how it affects in that conference game. That'll be something to definitely highlight on the box score for the highlights against Northwestern Ohio on the 50th episode